And I think we're live. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry I got a late start. I was having computer issues as usual. Today we are going to read the third book of Enoch. And it actually lists the Hebrew book of Enoch as well. So, let's see. I want to make sure you all are seeing this okay. All right. How's everybody doing today? See who all we got in the chat here. How's the sound, everybody? Is it good? Is there any echo or anything like that? Let me know if you can hear me. Alrighty. I'm going to look into the chat, give some shout outs real quick. If I can't see the chat, it's because I'm going to be reading. So sorry about that, guys. You know I love you all. Let me scroll back up here. We have Lucy's World. Much love, Mom. Hey, Vikings. William Jean. Sorry about that. I disabled Nightbot, man. Hey, Mind FK39. I never like to say your name, dude. Let's see. I seen Truth Apocalypse in there, Light Seeker. Hey, girly. And Charles Wolford, 1 foot. How's it going? File 1 X file. Okay. Got some people in here. Looks like there's 9 watching. I'm going to go ahead and get this started. Beautiful, beautiful day here, you guys. I'm not sure what the temperature is, but I let my dog outside. She can stay out there for a little bit. So, may only run this for about an hour because I just opened my last Mountain Dew and I'm out of creamer. So, only 1 cup of coffee today. So, that's no good. You all know me and my coffee. I gotta have it. Anyhow, if you want, I'm going to go ahead and read the introduction that the author, Joseph P. Lumpkin, has put for the book of Enoch. The Hebrew book of Enoch, or 3 Enoch, was very difficult to find in its entirety. It was likely written by a highly educated rabbi around 300 to 400 AD and preserved only in fragments here and there. Then in 1928, Dr. Hugo Odeberg, PhD, gathered the various fragmentary sources and published the first full translation along with copious scholarly notes, Hebrew material. The University Press at Cambridge in the United Kingdom published his work. A copy of the book made its way to the United States and into the University of Chicago library, where it was kept for many years. It was from the body of work and from his photocopied and preserved manuscript that some of the Hebrew language source material was compiled. The Hebrew source from the work at Cambridge was compared to and supplemented with various articles, fragments, quotes, and commentaries from dozens of other sources and references to produce the work before you. Enoch 3 purports to have been written around 100 AD, but its origins can only be traced to the late 4th or early 5th centuries. Other names for 3 Enoch include the third book of Enoch and the book of the palaces. The book is rife with Hebrew words, which have no single English equivalent. Even though care was taken to define the majority of these words when first they appear in the text, the reader should expect only key words to replace or augment meanings thereafter. Otherwise, would either leave the reader to remember the meanings of all Hebrew words or bloat the book to the point of making it difficult for the reader to follow. Hey, I see Illusion in the chat. Hey, girl, much love. I see Keith Strongbone. How's it going, man? All right. Let's see. I'm just going to skim over this real quick to see if I need to read it all. Oh, this is pretty interesting. There's some words in here I cannot pronounce. Modern scholars describe this book as belonging to a body of work called the Pseudepigraphia. Enoch 3 claims to be written by a rabbi who became a high priest after he had visions of an ascension to heaven 90 AD to 135 AD. Rabbi Ishmael is a leading figure of Merkaba literature. However, a number of suggest that it was in fact written by a number of people over a prolonged period of time. Things had to do with the theme of ascension. The name is derived from a Hebrew word referring to Ezekiel's version beginning in Ezekiel 1:4. Is known in the other Merkaba text, suggesting the book may Merkaba movement and derived from through name. The Book of Palaces is that Enoch 3 is part of the temple or of literature in which the palace, in quote, or in quote, temple of heaven is described. As with Enoch 1, the exact dating of this book is a difficult task. Scholars around the time of the Babylonian Talmud, which was around the early 5th century AD. Although it contains a number of words from both Greek and Latin that have been influenced by Enoch 1. Oh. Go down. Make sure I'm still alive here. Computer issues. Mic check, mic check. Let's see. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello. I sound like a robot? Okay. Be right back. Is that any better? Mic check, mic check. Okay. Willman says yes. Okay. All righty. I'm getting thumbs up, so something must be right. Let's see. Okay, let me read that last sentence for you all. Hey, Brother John, how's it going? As the book's other name, the Book of Palaces implies that Enoch 3 is a part of temple or Hekalah body of literature in which the palace or temple of heaven is described. As with Enoch 1, the exact dating of this book is a difficult task, but some scholars believe it was completed around the time of the Babylonian Talmud, which was around the early 5th century AD. 3 Enoch was originally written in Hebrew, although it contains a number of words from both Greek and Latin. Parts of the book seem to have been influenced by Enoch 1, showing the author was familiar with the mystical Enochian tradition. Let's see. Okay, so since I can't tell when it goes out, I'm going to turn my text notifications on very low, okay? And somebody that has my phone number, text me and let me know. Let me know if it's going out. Okay. I'm going to turn my ringer volume down, though. Okay, Mom, if you, or Illusion, if you all can send me just a test text, let me know how loud this is. That'd be great. So in about 20, 30 seconds, I should get a text. Got it. Okay. Okay, so it looks to me like Enoch 3 describes heaven. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Let's see. I'm just going through the rest of the introduction, seeing if I need to, okay. If you all have followed the first book of Enoch that I read, this kind of gives a difference between the first Enoch and 3 Enoch. Similar points appearing in first Enoch and 3 Enoch are: Enoch ascends to heaven in a storm chariot. Enoch is translated into an angel. Enoch as an angel is given authority in heaven. Enoch receives an explanation or vision of creation and cosmology. Enoch sees a hostile angel named Azazel. And if you all don't know who Azazel is, he's like the, not Satan, but he's the king of the fallen angels. He's like the leader of the fallen angels. The main theme throughout the book is transubstantiation. Transubstantiation. I can't even read that. Of Enoch into the angel Metatron. So Enoch transforms into the angel Metatron. That's neat. Metatron appears in various Jewish, Christian, and Islamic works, but was a central focus in a medieval Jewish mystical text and occult sources. Rabbinical text points to Metatron as the angel who stilled the hand of Abraham, preventing him from sacrificing Isaac. Awesome. Let me reread that. The text point to Metatron as the angel who stilled the hand of Abraham, preventing him from sacrificing Isaac. Is that not cool or what? The place and authority of Metatron has been hotly debated, as is seen even within the book. He is seen as sitting in heaven. This is only permitted if one is a deity. He is referred to in the text as the lesser Yahweh. Yahweh makes up the tetragrammatron, forming the name we pronounce as Yahweh or Jehovah. The four letters making up the divine are YODH, HEWAWHE, having the sounds of YHWOU, or a placeholder and H. So when he ends a word, it is often silent. Due to the fact that German theologians were heavily involved in theological research and study, one may also find the tetragrammaton rendered as YHVH, since the V in German has a W sound. Hey, Fire Kindled. I just looked up at the chat. A curse for dualism. There is a very personal attack within the text, which should be explained. A curse is placed on a man known only as Acher. In Hebrew, the name means the other, and is used as a term of alienation from the rabbinic community. The Talmud tells us that Elisha, and it's Abuyah, entered in paradise in a vision and saw Metatron sitting down, an action that in heaven is permitted only to God himself. Elisha ben Abuyah therefore looked to Metatron as a deity and proclaimed, "There are indeed two powers in heaven." The other rabbis explained that Metatron was allowed to sit because he was heavenly scribe, writing down the deeds of Israel. The intense hatred for any idea hinting at dualism or polytheism, as opposed to monotheism, caused such a reaction with the rabbinical community that they labeled Elisha as heretic. In 3 Enoch, this point is driven home when the entire nation of Israel is to be reconciled to God, except for Acher, whose name is blotted out. And it says, who is Metatron? In spite of the disagreements within the ancient Jewish community, the reader is still left to wonder what position Metatron occupies in heaven. Metatron is described in 2 ways, as a primordial angel and as the transformation of Enoch after he was assumed into heaven, and he is called the lesser Yahweh. According to Genesis 5:24, Enoch walked with God. Then he was no more, because God took him away. This Enoch, whose flesh was turned to flame, his veins to fire, his eyelashes to flashes of lightning, his eyeballs to flaming torches, and whom God placed on a throne next to the throne of glory, received after this heavenly transformation the name Metatron. A Christian perspective. Excuse me. As the Christian community came in contact with the Jewish book of Enoch 3, they had little trouble reconciling the names and position of Metatron. To those Christians, a person who may sit in heaven, who judges, and who is called by the same name taken by God must be Jesus. It may be of help if the meaning of the name Metatron could be ascertained, but it is not clear. Suggestions are that the name originated from the root words of such phrases as keeper of the watch, guard, to protect, one who serves behind the throne, one who occupies the throne next to the throne of glory, to lead or to measure. None of these suggestions can be proven. From the text itself, we know only that Metatron is referred to as the youth, likely because he would be the newest and youngest angel. He is also called the Prince of the Presence of God. His purpose in heaven was to be a witness against mankind. Numerology in 3 Enoch. A type of numerology is used and referred to within the text. Tamara is one of the 3 ancient methods used by Kabbalists to rearrange words and sentences in the Torah. In the belief that this method, they can derive the deeper, hidden spiritual meaning of the words. Tamara may be used to change letters in certain words to create a new meaning for the biblical statement. Another method is called gematria. Uh-oh. Did y'all hear that gunshot? Somebody's practicing shooting. I hope that doesn't continue. In this method, letters are substituted for numbers and the meaning of words with the same value are compared along with the numerical meaning of the words. Metatron is Enoch. A preparatory summary of the first section of the book may be framed as a revelation from Metatron, or the Prince of Presence, to Rabbi Ishmael. Metatron, as it turns out, is Enoch, and this is why the title of this book has come to be called 3 Enoch. Any question as to who Metatron may be is answered clearly in chapter 4, where it is written, Rabbi Ishmael said, I asked Metatron and said to him, why are you called by the name of your creator by 70 names? You are greater than all princes, higher than all the angels, beloved more than all the servants, honored above all the mighty ones in kingship, greatness, and glory. Why do they call you youth in the high heavens? He answered and said to me, because I am Enoch, the son of Jared. For when the generation of the flood sinned and were confounded in their deeds, saying unto God, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of your ways. And that's also in Job 21:14. Then the Holy One, blessed be he, removed me from their midst to be a witness against them in the high heavens, to all the inhabitants of the world, that they may not say, the merciful one is cruel. The following text begins the book of 3 Enoch. Notes and explanations are in italicized. Words placed in parentheses or alternate renderings of a word or phrase. Just looking in the chat real quick before I start. I'm not sure what you all are talking about. Utis. I'm going to have to put some drops in my eyes. They're starting to blur. I had LASIK surgery, but sometimes, depending on what my sugar is, my eyes still get blurry. So, I tell you what, if you all don't mind for just a second, let me go check my sugar and see where it's at. Okay? I will be right back. It only takes like 5 seconds to check it. Everything still sound good. My sugar is actually 237. This morning my sight fell off and I didn't even realize it. And then this morning, I just got my car out of the shop yesterday. I started it up this morning, taking my daughter to school, and it has a shake to it. So take it. It's for me, so because it's hard to get a ride to and from with a little bit blurry. So high sugar. So I should start feeling, yeah, it's just a little bit high. Yeah, the robot is that robot in there. It's okay. I've disabled it from being a mod. So, oh, the robot is back. The sound. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, my fan started on my computer. It's not liking me today, guys. So I'm going to get off here and then I'll be right back. Yeah, the train messed it up. Funny stuff. Okay, is that any better as far as the noise goes? Mic check. Mic check in the chat. Okay, here we go again. We're actually starting to read the book of Enoch now. If you all could just see this book, it's kind of odd, so I have to like skim over it. I don't like to pre-read it because I like for it to be a surprise to me as well as you all. Gosh, there's a big delay in that. Okay, introduction. Rabbi Ishmael ascends to heaven to witness the vision of the chariot. He is given to Metatron. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. I ascended on high to witness the vision of the divine chariot, and I had entered the 6 halls, which were situated within one another. The halls were in concentric circles, one within the other. As soon as I reached the door of the 7th hall, I stood in prayer before the Holy One. Blessed be he. I lifted up my eyes on high towards the divine majesty, and I said, Lord of the universe, I pray to you that the worthiness of Aaron, the son of Amram, who loves and pursues peace, and who received the crown of priesthood from your glory on Mount Sinai, be upon me in this hour, so that Quaphsel, the prince, and the angels with him may not overcome or overpower me, nor cast me down from the heavens. At that moment, the Holy One, blessed be he, sent Metatron, his servant, also called Ebed or Ebed, to me. He is the angel, the prince of the presence. With great joy, he spreads his wings as he came to meet me in order to save me from their hand. And by his hand, he took me so that they could see us. And he said to me, Enter in peace before the high and exalted King, and see the picture of the chariot. Merkabah means chariot, or in this case, chariot of fire or chariot of light. It is pulled by 4 chariots, or living creatures, each of which has 4 wings and the 4 faces of man, lion, ox, and eagle. See Ezekiel 1:4 through 26. The Bible makes mention of 3 types of angel found in Merkabah. The first is the seraphim, burning angels. These angels appear like flashes of fire, continuously ascending and descending. The seraphim angels power the movement of the chariot. In the hierarchy of these angels, seraphim are the highest, that is closest to God, followed by the chariot, which are followed by the ophanim. The chariot is a constant state of motion, and the energy behind its movement runs according to this hierarchy. The movement of the ophanim is controlled by the chariot, while the movement of the chariot is controlled by the seraphim. The movement of all the angels of the chariot are controlled by the likeness of a man on the throne. Then I entered the 7th hall, and he led me to the camps of Shekinah, which is understanding, and stood me in front of the Holy One. Blessed be he, to see the Merkabah. As soon as the princes of the Merkabah and the flaming seraphim knew I was there, they fixed their gaze on me. Trembling and shuddering seized me at once, and I fell down and was numbed by the brightness of the vision of their faces, until the Holy One, blessed be he, chastised them, saying, My servants, my seraphim, and my cherubim, and my ophanim, cover your eyes before Ishmael, my son, my friend, my beloved one, and my glory, so that he ceases trembling and shaking. Cherubs are described as winged beings. The prophet Ezekiel describes the cherubim as a tetrad of living creatures. And I already explained that prior. They are said to have the stature and hands of a man, the feet of a calf, and 4 wings. 2 of the wings extend upward, meaning above and sustaining to the throne of God, while the other 2 stretch downward and cover the creatures themselves. Let's see. Is the chariot present day or heaven? This is heaven. This is talking about Enoch when he ascends into heaven. Keith. That is correct, Brother John. And a lot of it I'm not reading. Like there's explanation of these scriptures that tells what book in the Bible correlates with this. So let me read this to you real quick. Ophanim are described in 1 Enoch as never sleeping. They watch and guard the throne of God. The word ophan means wheel in Hebrew. For this reason, the ophanim have been associated with the chariots in Ezekiel and Daniel. They are mentioned as gaggle, traditionally the wheels of Gagalin, in the fiery flame and burning fire of the 4-eyed covered wheels, each composed of the 2 nested wheels that move next to the winged cherubim, beneath the throne of God. The 4 wheels move with the cherubim because the spirit of the cherubim is in them. These are also referred to as the many-eyed ones in 2 Enoch. The ophanim are also equated as the thrones and associated with the wheels in the vision of Daniel 7:9. They carry the throne of God, hence the name. This may be a good time to explain the singular and plural plural in Hebrew, whereas in English we add an S to denote a plural. In Hebrew, an I am is added. Thus there is one cherub, but many cherubim. There is one seraph, and that's S-E-R-A-P-H, but many seraphim. Knowing this fact may make the text easier to follow. Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm just going to restart my computer. I will be right back. Haha, funny, Keith. Yeah, y'all see me for a split second. I look like poo. Can't help that stuff. Uh-huh. Don't judge. Okay. Much love, you guys. You know I love you. Yes, lots of PC problems as of late. Okay, sound check, mic check. Hopefully this is the last time we have to do this. So let me know if there's any issues. Oh, stop it, Keith. I could have been, you never know. I'm just joking. How's the sound, guys? What's this 5x5 illusion that you keep saying? You talking about the screen sharing? It's because 240. I'm just going to put it at 480. Then that way it'll look okay. At 5x5. Okay. Just trying to. Oh, I have many windows open. Is that much better? Is that much better, illusion? It'll come back up. Okay. Everything cool. Just say 10-4 or something. That's more my language. Okay. Let me make sure this resolution is good, you guys. Yep. It looks like everything's good to go. Okay. My mouse looks huge on that thing. Alrighty, cool. Now I lost my place, man. I need to just keep a highlighter with me. You hear that train? That's not even the loud one. Okay. Oh, wow. That's weird. You heard the train before I heard the train. Truth. Okay. As soon as the princes of Merkabah, the chariot, and the flaming seraphim knew I was there, they fixed their gaze on me. Trembling and shuddering seized me at once, and I fell down and was numbed by the brightness of the vision of their faces, until the Holy One, blessed be He, chastised them, saying, My servants, my seraphim and cherubim and my Ophanim, cover your eyes, and Ishmael, my son, my friend, beloved one, and my glory, so that he ceases trembling and shaking. All right. Then Metatron, the prince of the presence, came and placed my spirit in me again, and he stood me up on my feet. After that, the moment for an hour, I did not have enough strength to sing a song before the throne of glory. of the glorious King, the mightiest of all kings, the most excellent of all princes. After an hour had passed, the Holy One, blessed be he, opened the gates of Shekinah, which is understanding, to me. These are the gates of peace and of wisdom and of strength and of power and of speech and of song and of Kedushka, sacred salutation of holy, 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 and the gates of chanting. And he opened and shined his light in my eyes and my heart by words of psalm, song, praise, exaltation, thanksgiving, extolment, glorification, hymn, and eulogy to speak well of. And as I opened my mouth, singing a song before the Holy One, blessed be he, the holy chariot beneath and above me. The throne of glory answered and said, chanted the prayer, holy, blessed be the glory of Yahweh from his place. I see Sweet Thing in the chat. How's it going? Much love, you guys. Okay, we're on to chapter 2, which is not very long. The highest classes of angels make inquiries about Rabbi Ishmael, which are answered by Metatron. Rabbi Ishmael said, within the 4 hour, within the hour, the eagles of the chariot, Merkabah, the flaming Phantom, and the seraphim of consuming fire asked Metatron, youth, why do you permit one born of woman to enter and see the chariot, Merkabah? From which nation and from which tribe is this one? What is his nature? Metatron answered and said to them, from the nation of Israel, whom the Holy One, blessed be he, chose for his people among 70 tongues, nations of the world. He is from the tribe of Levi, whom he sets aside as a contribution to his name. He is from the seed of Aaron, whom the Holy One, blessed be he, chose for his servant, and he put upon him the crown of priesthood on Sinai. Then they spoke and said, happy is the people, the nation that is in that position. And that's in Psalm 144:15. Chapter 3. Metatron has 70 names, but God calls him youth. Rabbi Ishmael said, in that hour I asked Metatron, the angel, the prince of the presence, what is your name? He answered me, I have 70 names, corresponding to the 70 nations of the world, and all of them are based upon the name Metatron, angel of the presence, but my king calls me youth, which is in parentheses, Nar, and that's N as in Nancy, AAR. And a little note from the author here, 70 tongues represents the 70 nations or the entirety of the known world. It is likely the word youth is used because Metatron is the newest and youngest being in heaven. The 70 names are derived from the divine name or the tetragrammaton Yahweh. Yah is a shortened version of this, meaning God. Chapter 4. Metatron is Enoch, who was translated to heaven at the time of the flood. Rabbi Ishmael said, I asked Metatron and said to him, why does your creator call you by 70 names? You are greater than all the princes, higher than all the angels, beloved more than all the servants, honored above all the mighty ones in kingship, greatness and glory. So why do they in the high heavens call you youth? He answered and said to me, because I am Enoch, the son of Jared. When the generation of the flood sinned and were twisted and contorted in their deeds, saying unto God, depart from us, we do not want the knowledge of your ways. That's Job 21:14. Then the Holy One, blessed be he, removed me from their midst, so that I could be a witness against them in the high heavens, to all the inhabitants of the world, so that they cannot say, the merciful one is cruel. So that's cool. He removed Enoch so that they couldn't say that the merciful one is cruel. What sin did all those throngs of their wives, their sons, and their daughters, their horses, their mules, and their cattle, and their property, and all the birds of the world commit, so that the Holy One, blessed be he, destroyed the world, together with them in the waters of the flood? They cannot say, what in the generation of the flood sinned, and what sin did they do so that the beast and the bird should perish with them? Then the Holy One, blessed be he, lifted me up in their lifetime, in their sight, to be a witness against them to the future world. And the Holy One, blessed be he, assigned me to be a prince and a ruler among the ministering angels. Here's a little author's note. This chapter lays out the purpose of Enoch 3 and why it is so named. Metatron confirms that he is indeed Enoch, who was taken to heaven, translated into the being Metatron. His primary purpose was to be a witness against man's sin on earth. When man or an angel asked him what sin was committed that all on earth should be destroyed, Enoch, now known as Metatron, would be a witness. In that hour, 3 of the ministering angels, Uzzah, Azza, and Azael, came out and accused me in the high heavens in front of the Holy One. Blessed be he. And they said, the progenitors, the ancient ones, said before you with justification, do not create man. The Holy One, blessed be he, answered and said unto them, I have made, and I will bear, and yes, I will carry, and will deliver. As soon as they saw me, they said before him, Lord of the universe, what is this one that he should ascend to the highest heights? Is he not one from among the sons of those who perished in the days of the flood? What is he doing in the firmament heavens? What business does he have being in heaven? So there they go again, the fallen angels questioning God. What is he to be doing here? Here's an author's note. Some sources have the names of the angels include Malachi or Memaleki. Azul is one of the 10 of the heads of the heavenly Seraphim. Rabbinical sources have Asa and Azazel as giants. All 3 are said to be agents of evil who accuse man of sins. These are the fallen angels. Another theory is that Asa and Azazel are not individual angels, but are orders of angels. Rakia, and that's Raquuia, is a key Hebrew word in Genesis 1:6 through 8a. It is translated firmament in the King James Version and expanse in most Hebrew dictionaries and modern translations. Raka means to spread out, beat out, or hammer as one would a malleable metal. It can also mean plate. The Greek Septuagint translated rakia 16 out of 17 times with the Greek word steramona, which means a firm or solid structure. The Latin Vulgate, which is in AD 382, used the Latin term firmamentum, which also denotes solidness and firmness. The King James translators coined the word firmament because there was no single word equivalent in English. Today, firmament is used poetically to mean sky, atmosphere, or heavens. In modern Hebrew, rakia, which is R-A-Q-I-A, means sky or heavens. However, originally it probably meant something solid or firm that was spread out. Azazel is likely the same as being Azazel, the accuser angel who was the leader of the fallen ones. Etymology connects, and that's E-T-Y-M-O-L-O-G-Y. Connects the word with the mythological Uza, and that's U-Z-A, and Azazel. That's A-Z-A-E-L. The fallen angels, to whom a reference is believed to be found in Genesis 6:2-4. In accordance with this etymology, the sacrifice of the goat atones for the sin of fornication, of which those angels were guilty. See Enoch 1. Leviticus 16:8-10, and Aaron shall cast lots upon the two goats, one lot for the Lord, and the other lot for Azazel. And Aaron shall present the goat on which the lot fell for the Lord, and offer it as a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot fell for Azazel shall be presented alive before the Lord to make atonement over it, that it may be sent away into the wilderness to Azazel. Again the Holy One, blessed be he, answered and said to them, what are you, that you enter and speak in my presence? I delight more in this one than in all of you put together. And therefore he will be a prince and a ruler over you in the high heavens. Then they all stood up and went out to meet me and bowed themselves down before me and said, happy are you and happy is your Father, for your Creator favors you. And because I am small and a youth among them in days, months, and years, therefore they call me youth. Hey, guitar. How's it going? I see one fit on the beach. I don't know if I said hi to you. Hey, William Jean. How's it going? Chapter 5. The idolatry of the generation of Enosh. I think they, is Enosh a word? I've never seen that. I think they had a misprint here. The idolatry, let me see if it's repeated. Enosh. Just want to make sure. Oh, it is Enosh. Okay. The idolatry of the generation of Enosh, and that's E-N-O-S-H. Causes God to remove the Shekinah from earth, and that's S-H-E-K-I-N-A. Idolatry was inspired by Asa, Uzzah, and Azazel. Rabbi Ishmael said, Metatron, the prince of the present, said to me, from the day when the Holy One, blessed be he, evicted the first Adam from the Garden of Eden, and continuing from that day, the Shekinah, the glory, was dwelling upon a cherub under the tree of life. And the ministering angels were gathering together and going down from heaven in groups. From the heaven they went in companies, from the heavens in camps, to perform his will in the entire world. And the first man and his children were sitting outside the gate, of the garden to see the glowing bright appearance of the glory. For the splendor of the glory enfolds the world from end to end with its splendor, 365,000 times that of the orb of the sun. And everyone who made use of splendor of the glory on him, no flies and no gnats lit, and he was not ill, and he suffered no pain. No demons could overpower him, neither were they able to injure him. When the Holy One, blessed be he, went out and went in from the garden to Eden, from Eden to the garden, from the garden to heaven, and from the heaven to the Garden of Eden, then everything and everyone saw his magnificent glory, excuse me, and they were not injured until the time of the generation of Enosh, who was the head of all the idol worshippers of the world. The Shekinah was an energy or substance that was protecting those who used it from illness, demons, and even bugs. So that's pretty interesting. And what did the generation of Enosh do? They went from one end of the world to the other, and each person brought silver, gold, and precious stones and pearls in heaps the size of mountains and hills to make idols out of them throughout the entire world. And they erected the idols in every corner of the world. The size of each idol was 1,000 parasangs. And that's Parasangs. Author's note here, the generations of Enosh are as follows: Adam, Seth, Enosh, Canaan, Mahalalel, Jared, and then Enoch. The highest, worst sins, according to the rabbis, are idolatry, adultery, bloodshed, and sorcery, and calling God's name in vain. A parasang is a length or measurement of distance used in what is now Iran. It varied according to the region. The northeastern parasang was about 15,000 paces. The northwestern parasang was 18,000 paces. And the one of the southwest was nearly 6,000 paces. The measurement called the true parasang was about 9,000 paces. So isn't that interesting that all these precious stones, all this silver and gold and pearls ended up in heaps the size of mountains and hills, ended up where? Iran. What does that tell you all? No wonder everybody is wanting the land of Iran now. I think we just figured something out. Among all the artifacts, I will say. And they brought down the sun, the moon, planets, and constellations, and placed them in front of the idols, on the right side and on the left side of the idols, to attend to them just like they attend the Holy One. Blessed be he, for it is written. 1 Kings 22:19. And all those hosts of heaven were standing by him, on his right hand and on his left. What power was in them to enable to bring them down? They would not have been able to bring them down if it had not been for the fact that Uzzah and Azael, other sources have Azael, taught them sorceries by which they brought them down and enslaved them. You want me to read that again? Okay, I'll read it again. Let's see where it says it. Can't see where it says I ran. Hold on 2 seconds. Okay, here it is. And what did the generation of Enosh do? They went from one end of the world to the other, and each person brought silver, gold, precious stones, and pearls in heaps the size of mountains and hills to make idols out of them throughout the entire world. And they erected the idols in every corner of the world. The size of each idol was 1,000 parasangs. And it says the generations of Enoch are as follows: Adam, Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, and Enoch. The highest, worst sins, according to the rabbis, are idolatry, adultery, bloodshed, and sorcery, and calling God's name in vain. A parasang is a length or measurement of distance used in what is now Iran. It varied according to the region. The northeastern parasang was about 15,000 paces. The northwestern parasang was 18,000 paces. And the one of the small southwest was nearly 6,000 paces. The measurement called the true parasang was about 9,000 paces. And they brought down the sun, the moon, planets, and constellations and placed them in front of the idols on the right side and on the left side of the idols, to attend to them just like they attended the Holy One. Blessed be he, for it is written, 1 Kings 22:19. And all those hosts of heaven were standing by him on his right hand and on his left. What power was in them to enable to bring them down? They would not have been able to bring them down if it had not been for the fact that Uzzah and Azael, other sources have Azael, taught them sorceries by which they brought them down and enslaved them. It says it is obvious that the actual sun and stars were not brought down, but the angelic powers controlling them were summoned. Also, keep in mind that some creatures thought stars to be evil angels who flew across the sky. These angels were summoned and used. In that time, the ministering angels accused them before the Holy One. Blessed be he, saying, Master of the world, why do you bother with the children of men? As it is written in Psalm 8:4, what is man, Adam, that you are mindful of him? But it is not about Adam that this was written, but about Enosh, for he is the head of the idol worshippers. Why have you left the highest of the high heavens, which are filled with the majesty of your glory, and are high, lifted up, and exalted on the high and exalted throne in Rakai, which is heaven, and Araboth, the highest heaven, are gone and dwell with the children of men who worship idols, and equate you to, and that's to place you on the same level as the idols. It says the word Araboth, highest heaven, occurs in Psalm 68:4. Extol him who rides up the Araboth, in which it is usually translated simply as the highest heaven. In the case of Enoch 3, this would be the throne of God. In the Zohar commentary on Exodus, it is referred to thus: Be glad in the presence of him who rides that concealed heaven, which is supported by the chariot. The Zohar also interprets the word to mean mixture because it says that heaven is a mixture of fire and water. This is a mystical statement of a place containing opposites and thus everything. Now you are on earth just like the idols. What have you to do with the inhabitants of the earth who worship idols? Then the Holy One, blessed be He, lifted up His Shekinah from the earth, from their midst, and at the moment the ministering angels came. They are troops of the host and the armies of Araboth, the highest heaven, in 1,000 camps and 10,000 hosts. They brought trumpets and took the horns in their hands and surrounded the Shekinah with all kinds of songs. And He ascended to the high heavens, for it is written in Psalm 47:5, God is gone up with a shout, the Lord with the sound of a trumpet. It says, here the presence and dwelling of God is the glory. When the glory was taken, God Himself left them and took His glory because of idolatry. I'm seeing how much is left, you all. I think I'm going to go ahead and end it after chapter 6. I have one last chapter, and then we'll continue on, hopefully the day after tomorrow. Chapter 6, Enoch is lifted up to heaven together with the Shekinah. Rabbi Ishmael said, Metatron, the angel, the prince of the presence, said to me, when the Holy One, blessed be He, wanted to lift me up on high, He first sent Enoch, Yahweh, the prince, and took me from their company out of their sight and carried me away in great glory on a chariot of fire, pulled by horses of fire and servants of glory. He lifted me up to the high heavens together with the glory. As soon as I reached the high heavens, the holy chariot, the Opanim, the seraphim, the cherubim, the wheels of the Merkabah, which is the chariot, and the ministers of the consuming fire all smelled my scent from a distance of 365,000 myriads of parasangs, and said, what smells like one born woman, and what tastes like a white drop? Who is this that ascends on high? He is merely a gnat among those who can divide flames of fire. It says, the angel smells the scent of a human, which he finds revolting. He can taste it in the air. The white drop refers to semen. This is an extremely hateful and distasteful statement for the angel to make. The Holy One, blessed be He, answered and spoke to them, my servants, my host, my cherubim, my Ophanim and my seraphim, do not be displeased on account of this. Since all the children of men had denied me in my great kingdom, and all have gone worshiping idols, I have removed my glory from among them and have lifted it up on high. But this one, whom I have taken from among them, is an elect one among the inhabitants of the world, and he is equal to all of them put together in his faith, righteousness, and perfection of deed. And I have taken him as a tribute from my world under all the heavens. And the last author's note here before chapter 7, which we will continue the day after tomorrow. The statement of taking a tribute can be better understood if one looks at Enoch as the best mankind has to offer, and God took him as an act of admiration, indicating the intended worth of mankind, had they not turned away from him. The term elect one is very important. It occurs in 1 Enoch and in certain scripture regarding Christ. and chapter 7, Enoch 3, will be continued. So, I said I would go about an hour today. I think I went about an hour and 20 minutes. Yes, fire kindled, and he walked with God. It's kind of interesting that they said that an angel can smell a human and also taste it in the air. I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm going to give some shout outs in the chat here. If I miss you, I'm sorry. I have Dennis here. Of course, Illusion Shattered, Lucy's World, Keith Strongbone, William Jean, Jake W. How's it going, man? Dennis Carnes, Illusion Shattered, Fire Kindled. Mind FK39. And that is it. Okay. Much love, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast. I might chat with you for a minute in the chat. And I will see you in a couple days. Much love.